In 2008, the state of Maryland faced a severe budget shortfall. Lawmakers looked at the state's 8,000 resident millionaires and decided the most direct solution was a targeted tax increase on high earners. Lawmakers expected a surplus, calculating the new tax would generate an additional $106 million annually. A year later, the plan collapsed. Maryland suffered a $257 million net loss because 2,000 millionaires moved out of state to avoid the bill. This failure illustrates a core reality of human action. People respond dynamically to rewards and incentives. When the cost of staying exceeded the reward, the taxpayers simply changed their behavior. Most political debates focus on a policy's intended outcome. However, looking through an economic lens reveals that a policy's actual success is determined by the hidden behavioral incentives it creates. Economic theory provides a set of rules to see through political noise. It allows you to recognize the invisible forces that dictate how people will actually react when a new law is passed. The economy functions as a living, highly reactive web of human behavior rather than a static spreadsheet. Classical economics centers on Adam Smith's invisible hand, the idea that individuals pursuing their own profit, like a baker selling bread, unwittingly create an ordered, well-fed society. In the late 1980s, Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev visited London and was struck by the abundance of food. Used to a system where the state dictated every delivery, he asked how a city of millions could be coordinated without a central planner. Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher explained that no government office coordinates the bread or the beef. Market prices handle the distribution automatically. Market prices function as a sophisticated communication network. They send instant, constant signals to everyone in the economy about scarcity, oversupply, and shifting demand. This real-time feedback loop processes millions of changing variables, a feat of coordination that no central planner or supercomputer has ever successfully replicated. Price controls are often introduced to protect the vulnerable, but by manually setting a price, the government severs the market's communication signal. In New York City, rent control was designed to keep housing affordable. However, the lower price artificially spikes demand, while simultaneously removing any incentive for landlords to maintain or improve their properties. When rent is capped below the cost of maintenance, buildings rot. Eventually, owners abandon them entirely. This is why New York City currently has 4 times as many empty, abandoned apartments as it has homeless people on the street. The inverse occurs when governments set prices artificially high. In the early 2000s, India attempted to help its agriculture sector by guaranteeing a high price for wheat, regardless of market demand. Indian farmers responded to this reward by massively overproducing wheat to capture the government payout. Without a price signal to tell them to slow down, 11 million tons of wheat ended up rotting in government warehouses, while citizens in other parts of the country faced starvation. Tampering with the price signal breaks the system's ability to coordinate resources. Whether the price is set too high or too low, the resulting shortage or waste ultimately hurts the very people the policy was meant to protect. When major companies struggle, the political reflex is often to provide taxpayer-funded bailouts. This is rooted in Keynesian theory, which prioritizes injecting money into the system to keep failing industries afloat during a crisis. The Austrian School of Economics offers a different perspective. A financial loss provides value to society that is just as vital as a profit. A loss is the market's honest feedback. It signals that valuable resources, like engineers, steel, and electricity, are being wasted on products people do not want and should be redirected elsewhere. Propping up failing companies traps capital in unproductive pursuits. It creates a temporary economic rush that masks the underlying waste of a nation's resources. If history shows these interventions consistently fail, why do politicians continue to implement them? Public choice theory suggests that politicians and bureaucrats behave like any other rational actor. They often make decisions to maximize their own utility and secure votes, rather than acting as selfless servants of the public interest. This mechanism is concentrated benefits and dispersed costs. A sugar tariff costs millions of consumers $2 each, but gives producers $20 million in profit. These producers lobby heavily for this massive reward, while citizens ignore a tiny cost. The political system is mathematically incentivized to pass laws that benefit small, organized interest groups at the expense of the disorganized majority. The foundational law of economics is that every choice involves a trade-off. Every dollar and every hour spent on one goal is a resource that cannot be used for any other purpose. A nation faces these same constraints. It cannot simultaneously achieve perfect economic efficiency and perfect equality. Moving toward one goal inevitably requires sacrificing a portion of the other. Economics provides a framework for evaluating the specific cost of what must be given up to achieve a desired outcome. These principles serve as a filter for political rhetoric. When presented with a promise of a cost-free fix, these rules provide the tools to identify the hidden trade-off and the specific behavior that is actually being rewarded.